Archiving history. Let's explore.
In 1839, amidst the sprawling plantations of South Carolina, a boy named Robert Smalls was born into a world of oppression. The cries of the enslaved echoed through the air, while the promise of freedom felt like a distant dream. Growing up in Beaufort, Smalls was no stranger to the brutal reality of slavery. Forced to work in Charleston as a young boy, he toiled in various jobs, learning the waterways of the South Carolina coast like the back of his hand. This knowledge would later prove invaluable, but in his youth, it served as a daily reminder of his chains. The 19th century was a time of stark contrasts in America. Whispers of abolition were met with fierce resistance in the South, and the lives of people like Smalls were defined by an oppressive system that sought to strip them of their humanity. Yet, within Robert Smalls burned a quiet determination that no master could extinguish. It was May 13, 1862, a night that would be etched into history, a night of quiet courage and unrelenting determination. Robert Smalls, just 23 years old, stood at the helm of the Planter, a Confederate steamship docked in Charleston Harbor. He was no stranger to this vessel. As an enslaved crewman, he had spent years working on it, memorizing its workings and the intricacies of its routes. But tonight was different. Tonight, the Planter would not serve the Confederacy. It would be a vessel of hope, carrying Smalls, his family, and other enslaved individuals toward freedom. The plan had been in motion for months. Smalls had carefully observed the patterns of Confederate forces and the tides of the harbor, using his intimate knowledge of the waterways to chart an escape. This was no impulsive act. Every detail had been meticulously considered. He knew the ship's departure had to be timed to avoid suspicion and take advantage of the darkness. The risk was immense. If caught, the punishment for this act of defiance would be swift and brutal. Death for him and likely retribution against those he cared for. As the clock ticked toward the early hours, Smalls steeled himself for what lay ahead. Dressed in the uniform of the ship's captain, complete with the wide-brimmed hat, he stepped onto the deck with an air of confidence that belied the storm of nerves within. His crew, a group of enslaved individuals who shared his dream of freedom, looked to him for reassurance. Smalls offered quiet words of encouragement, knowing that their unity and resolve were as crucial as the ship's mechanics in seeing this plan through. When the time came to leave, the Planter glided through the waters under Smalls's command. Each checkpoint posed a new test of their courage. Confederate sentries manning the harbor's defenses were accustomed to seeing this ship and its captain, and Smalls's calm demeanor and precise use of hand signals allowed the Planter to pass without incident. The sight of Fort Sumter, looming against the faint glow of the horizon, was the ultimate challenge. Every second felt stretched into an eternity as the ship moved closer to its final Confederate checkpoint. When they finally cleared the fort's guns, Smalls and his crew erupted in quiet celebration. He directed the Planter toward the Union blockade, raising a white sheet as a flag of surrender. The Union sailors greeted him with astonishment and gratitude, recognizing the extraordinary courage it had taken to carry out such a feat. This act was far more than a personal triumph. It deprived the Confederacy of a valuable ship and delivered critical military intelligence to the Union. Small's actions sent ripples through both the North and South, inspiring abolitionists and striking fear into the heart of the Confederacy. For Robert Smalls, it marked the start of a new chapter, one where freedom was no longer a distant hope, but a reality within reach. Robert Smalls' daring escape was the beginning of a remarkable journey, one that saw him emerge as a key figure in the Union war effort. His unparalleled knowledge of the southern coastline and Confederate operations quickly drew the attention of Union commanders. Recognizing his unique skills, Smalls was enlisted into the Union Navy, where he became an indispensable pilot. Aboard the Planter, now repurposed as a Union vessel, Smalls navigated treacherous waters and played a critical role in blockades, reconnaissance, and supply missions. His ability to read the tides, understand the labyrinth of southern waterways, and anticipate Confederate movements proved invaluable. Smalls was not merely a participant in the war. He was a force of change within it. His presence aboard Union vessels carried symbolic weight, challenging long-held stereotypes about the capabilities of African Americans. He was living proof that courage, intelligence, and skill knew no racial bounds. His story quickly spread, inspiring countless African Americans to enlist and join the fight for freedom. The sight of Smalls piloting the Planter became a beacon of hope and a testament to the transformative power of determination and bravery. In 1863, Smalls achieved a historic milestone that underscored his leadership and skill. During a mission, the captain of the Planter abandoned ship under fire, leaving the crew vulnerable. Smalls stepped forward without hesitation, taking command of the vessel and guiding it and its crew safely out of harm's way. This act of bravery earned him the official rank of captain, making him the first black man to command a U.S. naval vessel. It was a moment that shattered societal norms and sent a powerful message about African Americans' ability to lead and excel under pressure. Smalls' contributions to the Union cause extended far beyond his role aboard the Planter. He became a tireless advocate for the enlistment of black soldiers, working to ensure that African Americans could fight for their freedom and the Union's cause. His efforts helped bolster the ranks of the Union Army, which, by the war's end, included nearly 180,000 African American soldiers. For Smalls, the war was deeply personal. Every mission, every act of defiance against the Confederacy was a step toward a future where his children and millions of others could live free. His bravery resonated far beyond the battlefield, becoming a rallying cry for abolitionists and a symbol of what was possible when courage met opportunity. Through his actions, Robert Smalls showed that freedom was not just an abstract ideal, but a tangible goal worth fighting for. When the war ended in 1865, Robert Smalls did not retreat into obscurity. Instead, he turned his focus to rebuilding the shattered South during the Reconstruction era. In 1868, Smalls was elected to the South Carolina State Legislature, where he fought tirelessly for the rights of newly freed African Americans. His advocacy centered on education, land ownership, and equal opportunities, issues he knew were vital for true liberation. By 1875, Smalls' political influence had grown, and he was elected to the U.S. House of Representatives. There he continued his mission, championing civil rights legislation and working to protect the gains made during Reconstruction. Smalls was instrumental in ensuring that African Americans had access to education, advocating for schools that would serve freedmen and their children. He also supported policies like the Homestead Act, which helped freed slaves secure land and build independent futures. Despite fierce opposition from white supremacists and political adversaries, Smalls remained steadfast. His tenure in Congress was marked by an unyielding commitment to justice and equality, making him a trailblazer for generations of black politicians who would follow in his footsteps. Robert Smalls' life is a testament to the power of courage and conviction. From his daring escape aboard the Planter to his transformative role in politics, Smalls exemplified the spirit of resilience in the face of adversity. His contributions extended far beyond his own lifetime, laying the groundwork for civil rights movements that would continue to shape America. Today, his name adorns schools, streets, and monuments, serving as a reminder of the profound impact one person can have on history. Robert Smalls' story is not just a tale of individual triumph. It is a narrative of collective progress, a beacon for those who continue to fight for justice and equality. His journey reminds us that even in the darkest moments, there is always a path forward, if we have the courage to take it. Would you like to learn more? Check out our website and subscribe at archivinghistory.com.